You are responsible for your own happiness. You are responsible for making sure that you're all right. I'm not here to tell you that no one's going to come to save you. But whether somebody does or doesn't, you're responsible for getting yourself together. I say this because I was going through some of my old journal entries from like 2007, 2008. I was really going through it back then. I mean, really going through it. And I only prayed that God would hear me, and I prayed that things would get better and that I would be delivered from the different things that I was going through. Okay, and just from peer pressures and not being popular, things teens worry about, not having good friends or a girlfriend and things of that nature. Now that I'm going on 29 years, I've had girlfriends. I've had acquaintances that have gotten close to being friends come and go. I've had these things. I've had some levels of notoriety, mostly online. But the justification for me, where is my justice? Where's the justice for old me? I was talking with a woman I know recently who went through a ton of tragedies. And she shared with me a journal entry where she was crying out to God and she was so depressed and was going through so much, right? But this journal entry was from before she went through these series of unfortunate events that took place after. So she cried out here, went through all this, and is here now. Where is the justification? She's going through stuff right now. She's going through her own fair share of new pain now. But what about the old her? What about the old version where she had that pain? Was she ever delivered of those pains? Did somebody ever come to save her from that? I'm not going to say no, but ultimately, we think that if we cry out to God or the universe and just sit and meditate and wait, that we will be delivered from the things that we're going through. And that would be it, right? We don't think new pains will come, at least not before the old ones are abolished and done away with, right? Unfortunately, for a lot of us, that's not the case. And so I'm not trying to be hopeless or sound like a cynic, but I just want to wake y'all up to the reality of the situation. That you have to be the one to get yourself together. Oftentimes the universe or God, depending on your belief, will send you words of encouragement, but you got to do the work. Ultimately, the tools are here. You have to do them. You have to use them. These are things that you can control. Okay, certain things like a chronic disease or a child has been abducted or a family member passes away, of course, are things out of our control. But if we, are going through, we got to be the ones to save us, man. We really have to. The things that are inside of our control, it's up to us. And if you can't change it, at least change how you feel about it. Change your reaction to it. I'm giving y'all the real deal, man, because ultimately we got to be responsible for that part. That part we got to be responsible for. I had an ex of mine show me old journal entries from when she was a teenager. And she was a teenager back in 2001. And some of the insecurities that she talked about in her journal were some of the insecurities that she still dealt with when she showed it to me 20 plus years later. And I was like, nothing ever changed. And in that situation, you hope for a better day. And that better day didn't come. And it really bothered me that it didn't come for her the way that she wanted it to. I was like, there has to be something, just because of the energy. There has to be some reason. There has to be some justification. There's got to be some justice that comes through because we felt bad. We were supposed to be given a better day, right? That's what I'm thinking, right? Naive, whatever, but that's just what I'm thinking. Like, dang, surely somebody's coming to save us. But really, if Our healing is in our hands. And we are just one decision away from a different life, for better or for worse. We got to start making some positive changes. We got to. Some things are out of our hand, and that's where it goes to God's hands. But the things that can, if you're insecure about being overweight, you got to put in the work to lose the weight. I've been insecure about being underweight my whole life. My whole life. And I went through years of being taunted for being short and skinny. Okay? I went through it. And there were times where I hated it. I hated it so much. But if ever I started to work on myself to get myself bigger and more muscles, I would never stay consistent. And so I suffered. And it cost me dearly because I was tormented well into adulthood because of it. But at the end of the day, I got myself to blame if I don't put the necessary steps in place, right? The necessary things that I need to do to make these dreams come true, to make them a reality. At least work on bettering your mindset. That's where it starts first. And people think that meditation and just praying about it is going to fix it. Meditation and praying, I'm going to do a separate video on this, is supposed to help your mind. That's supposed to help with the mental aspect of it and emotional aspect of it. But as far as the physical aspect of it, you got to do the work. We are responsible for saving ourselves when it comes to things that we can control. Pray about it. Meditate about it, but then you got to do the work. So, yeah, I just felt to come on here and say that. I know at this point, I'm just kind of throwing different topics at the wind, but it's justified vulnerability because I'm being vulnerable with you in this moment. And I'm letting y'all know that, hey, I have a lot of regrets too. A lot. And if I keep on, I'll only have myself to blame at the end. It's time we start making some changes and we start gaining control of our destiny and where we're supposed to be. Because no one else is responsible for it but us. You got to live with you at the end of the day. You got to go to sleep with you at the end of the day. You got to wake up with you in the morning. So if there's any regrets to be had, you are going to feel them before anybody else. So when it comes to successes and you accomplishing your dreams, guess who's going to feel that too? So if we going to feel the pain anyway, let's put our pain and our energy towards bettering ourselves so we can feel the joys as well. That's all I wanted to say.